in opposing the controversial Public Universities Bill.
Now, national executives of the University Teachers Association of Ghana earlier issued a statement condemning a press conference called by its University of Ghana branch on the matter, insisting it was not sanctioned. Now, UTAG National threatened to punish its Legon branch if it went ahead with the press conference. Listen to Dr. Samuel Bert Bwedikusi, president of UTAG UCC, who spoke for the National Union.
Clearly, UTAG UG seems not to understand the principle of unionism. We are a union. We hold our collective brand. And that brand does not belong to UTAG UG alone. And that is why, per our own constitutions, we have national officers. And so we have these leaders, the national officers, as well as the National Executive Committee, which UTAG UG executives are members. All of us have articulated a position. That position has been presented to Parliament. UTAG UG was part of it. Following from that, we have engaged major stakeholders. UTAG UG president himself was part of some of these engagements.
But the concern for them is that at some point they had the Minister of Education and other deputies mention that the UTAG and other members are now comfortable with the amendments that have been made to the Public Universities Bill. Hence, their concerns and that press conference.
No, please. You see, that's why I want to clarify this. If you check from the press release that we said that, and right from the memo that we sent to Parliament, we said that in its current form, we were not comfortable. However, we needed to also engage. We made an appearance at the Parliamentary Select Committee. And as we have indicated, there has been a major shift. And so, granted that UG is pursuing a course which is also appreciated by all the other branches. Why is it that it is UG that is leading that when we have national executive officers?
But if the national is not leading it, should they wait? If I may,
why are they usurping the powers of the very body that they are part of? What is their motive?
You think they have a motive?
They should be answering that. Because, you see, the principle of unionism, it is not about
So will sanctions apply? Because you've mentioned that you will not hesitate to apply the needed sanctions if they go ahead with a press conference. That has happened. What will be the sanctions?
Yes, we will. We're going to meet. And you see, that the irony of it is that not long ago, UG did the same thing, and they wrote to apologize. When we were going to apply sanctions, they apologized, and we accepted their plea because we felt that we are a family. We need to build our front.
And if an apology comes again?
They have gone again. They have usurped of the national body, and we think that is most unfortunate because UG is not the only campus that makes up the national body of UTAG.
Well, the University of Ghana branch of UTAG defied its national union and went ahead with their press conference detailing why they are opposed to the bill and has strong civil society support from the CDD and IDEC. Listen to Professor Akosia Adumaku-Ampofo lay out why they broke ranks with the mother union on the bill.
If passed into law, this new legislation would confer on the President powers that the 1992 Constitution explicitly denies him or her under Article 68, 1B, and 195(3). Through provisions in the bill that give the executive majority representation on the university councils and that allow the President to dissolve the council, the President would effectively control universities. The new law would thus erode the protections that the Constitution grants universities in order that they can effectively carry out their mandate of teaching, learning, research. Academics would become beholden to the political party of the day, either as a result of direct interference or through self-censorship.
That's Professor Akosia Adumaku-Ampofo, but Professor Ransford Jampo, a political scientist and member of UTAG UG, thinks the press statement issued by the National Office of UTAG was a needless attempt by National UTAG to arrogate themselves certain powers they did not have.
Democracy. UTAG National is made up of various campuses, UTAG, local campuses, of UTAG. And all that. Eugene UTAG is one, and they have every right to do what they think or what they deem fit. I'm sure that there is a common understanding, among Eugene UTAG and UTAG National about the Public Universities Bill. I think issues have been raised as to how it potentially could undermine academic freedom and all that, and they are all fighting it. But at this point in time, Eugene UTAG feels it has to, address certain concerns to you guys in the media, and I do not see how somebody would sit in his office and say that we haven't sanctioned what Eugene UTAG should do. I think it's a needless attempt to usurp certain or arrogate certain powers to to themselves. And then also, I think in terms of priority, over the years, I believe that many university lecturers had not taken matters of UTAG seriously, because lecturers are always concentrating on their research and being on their books and all that. But for some time now, it appears that if for nothing at all, the PUB has awakened the consciousness of many lecturers, and so they are very critical now, looking at what the national body is doing, and if they feel that it is not in sync with what they want, if it's not in sync with their aspiration, if they feel that the approach and the processes that are being adopted by national is a bit slow or whatever, they have every right to also voice. This was just a presser. They didn't go attacking anybody. They just ventilated their views. And to say that you haven't sanctioned it, but this is a body that had almost issued instructions calling on UTAG that we were supposed to be embarking on some strike over an unpaid book and research allowance.
So that's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampo there. But we've been joined on the phone by President of UTAG UCC. He also speaks for the National Union, Dr. Samuel Bert Bwedikusi. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So I'm sure that a lot has changed since that press conference and since we last spoke. But first, you've been listening to Professor Ransford Jampo, and for him, UTAG, you are arrogating yourself certain powers that you do not have by asking them not to hold that press conference they did this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. Let me say that I respect the opinion of colleagues who have expressed their views on this matter, and of course that is their view. However, I disagree. You see, we run an association. We have national leaders. We have a national executive committee. We have a constitution. And therefore, if at any material time we have all agreed on a course of action, which we have collectively embarked on, one, by draft engaging, we were at the office of the president. Further following from there, we had a meeting with the minister. Then we made a presentation and appearance at the public parliamentary select committee on education. Following from there has been other engagements, meeting some members of the Council of State, meeting, the Vice President, meeting other stakeholders. I cannot, immediately mention their names, where the leadership of UG was involved. They were involved in all these engagements, most of these engagements, if not all. And they believed in the course of action that we were taking.
Doc, if what you're saying is the case, we just listened to the press conference. Clearly, UTAG Legon still had concerns, fundamental concerns with the bill, and they state them. They still have concerns with the fact that the government retains majority representation of the council. They still have concerns that the president then will maintain control over the council.
Yes, I perfectly agree with you. You see, and that is the other side which is not being told. And that is why in the statement that the National Office released, it states that there has been a major shift in most of these clauses, because we see what they are stating now. It is not, if you have read the position paper that we submitted to Parliament, all these things that they are stating is not new. It's the same thing as is found in the bill that was presented earlier.
I guess the fundamental question
we are making.
I guess the question is, the bill in this current form, which I'm told when the Parliament resumes we'll deal with, has it addressed these fundamental concerns that UG just expressed, asking, does the bill still give majority of the seats on the council to the government?
You see, I think that it will be premature for me to put out there what is still being worked on. And that is why we asked UG that in our collective interest, they should hold on, because in any case, the document that we have sent to Parliament, and we have expressed our position, we have even articulated that if the bill is passed and we are still not comfortable, we will not even hesitate to go to the Supreme Court for interpretation.
But why do you want to wait for the bill to be passed when the bill is in the process of consideration of Parliament? And
that is why we are engaging. It's not as if that following the presentation at the Parliamentary Select Committee, we are sitting down. We are not. We are engaging. We have engaged major stakeholders for them to understand our position. So whilst you are engaging, why they need to go out and articulate the same old thing that you have already articulated, and that is why we told UG that out of respect for the national body, hold on, let us engage. If we think that the engagement is not yielding the needed results collectively, we then, all of us, will come together and hold a press conference and articulate our views. Well, you see, the danger we have is that, if one campus, now one campus has spoken, if another campus gets up tomorrow and says that they are holding a press conference in favor of the bill, it means that we are presenting a very divided front, and that is what we wanted to prevent. It is not as if we are against somebody articulating the view, and that is why I said I disagree with the position or the view that has been espoused by colleagues that I listened to earlier. It is not as if we are against anybody, but the point is that let us do things as a union. That is why we are a union. We don't exist in isolation.
I mean, thankfully, Doc, your colleague and friend, Dr. Samuel Incumbent, who is the University of Ghana Utah president, has just joined us on the telephone line. Doc, thank you for joining us tonight. We just have your colleague and friend also from the Utah National. He's a Utah president in UCC, but speaks in this case for the National Union. Say very categorically that you've been talking, they've been representing you. Dialoguing, that process is still ongoing. The association, the union, the mother body has a position that they are pushing. That process is not complete, and yet you choose to go ahead and simply, from what I've heard, repeat concerns that UTAG as a body had already put forward and is advocating on.
Well, of course, that is the case. It's the case that we have been in the background engaging with stakeholders on this matter. It's also the case that as part of these same engagements, University of Ghana branch of the association has had some engagements in the background, including meetings with some eminent personalities as well as some members of parliament in relation to the same goal which we seek as a national body, which is that the bill is not necessary based on the rationale that was provided for wanting to enact this law. And of course, as part of these engagements, one of the things that came up quite strongly is the fact that we needed as well to engage and have some sustained public conversation or discourse over this matter. And so for us, the fact that we, as University of Ghana, we had already prepared our minds and prepared ourselves, and at the local chapter, there had been engagements, and at a general meeting, we are only 4 elected officers who represent University of Ghana on NEC. And so we informed NEC at our last meeting on Thursday that this is part of the processes of engagement that UTAG has also been doing in our collective effort to ensure that this bill doesn't get to see the light of day.
I'm sorry. How is a press because you made a point. Just forgive me. How is a press conference engagement exactly?
Say again.
You said what you did today was a press conference. How is it part of your engagement? Engagement with the public?
Yes, of course.
I mean,
the public ought to be concerned about this bill.
Yeah, but there's nothing that you said today that I haven't heard UTAG express before. I mean, and plus, UTAG is already engaging with the parliament, the government. Positions have been expressed at the committee level. Isn't that where the real deal is?
The real deal is for parents, is for students to appreciate the enormity of the situation in relation to the provisions that are enshrined in this bill, as against the 1992 Constitution, as against the potential danger that it brings in relation to the future of our tertiary
Are you suggesting that UTAG National has failed in articulating these issues publicly? Because they have not.
It's worth conversing.
Yeah, how is UTAG hoping to fight this battle by themselves when your mother union is doing that on your behalf?
I didn't get that.
I'm asking how UTAG Legon is hoping to fight this battle by themselves when the mother union is doing just that on your behalf.
Well, of course, I don't think that we are divided on the goal of ensuring that this bill doesn't pass. We are not divided on that. If there is any division that I've heard my colleagues express is about the fact that we failed to follow some procedure. And the reality is this, that if that is the case, I'm not sure you heard that UTAG UG was sanctioned some time back by virtue of getting sanctioned not to host the National Secretariat when he was attempting to host the National Secretariat, because we did call off a strike in connection with trying to save an academic calendar that was about to get disrupted by a strike action when we had clear indication from government that book and research allowances were going to be paid. And so I for the choice of public engagement in relation to the fact that UTAG breached procedure of NEC, not because we are saying something that is at variance with NEC's position on the fact that the university bill is unnecessary and should be dropped. I think that to choose the public media as the option, I'm not sure why, but of course that was what majority of the NEC members decided on, and that is why that press statement is out.
But so, Dr. Beth Kusi, you've heard your colleague on the other side. They're just fighting the same battle. How then do you hope to sanction them when they are just adding some voice to what UTAG, the mother body, is already doing?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm happy my colleague Same is on the other side, because he has been part of the engagement. He has been part of it. The problem we have is that, you see, we are running a national office. There we have elected people who are running the office. So if indeed we are fighting the same cause, why then do they choose to go on a tangent which is not sanctioned by all of us? Why the seemingly attention-seeking and a certain posture of superiority so far as UJ is concerned? We think that we ought to work together. My colleague has been part of it. He has been part of most of the engagements, and that is where we differ. You see, if we have all articulated our views, we have all penned down our views and presented, and we are working towards that goal. Why? What is the motivation for one group, one branch to, supersede it? Get over everybody.
Dr. Beth, this is the second time today on this network I've heard you question their motive. You seem to believe that there's something more at play than simply wanting to push this in the public.
Well, I want to leave that for listeners to judge, because you see, it's a bit difficult to think of it when you have peers. Last week in Ho, he indicated that four of the executive, all of us were together in Ho, and we have peers who believe that, look, this is the course of action all of us are going. This is where we are all going. Take your time. Let's do this together as a group. And he himself knows that there were other opinions that were expressed, which I think I'm not in a position to put on air, which has the potential of breaking our front as a union. And that is the posture.
But isn't your front already broken on this matter? Clearly, at least University of Ghana, many will argue, is the strongest of the law. It's not with you in terms of how to get to the end.
I think that is very debatable and very subjective. If we say they are the strongest of all, strongest in terms of what?
It's the premier university.
Strongest because they are in Accra.
Strongest because it's Ghana's premier university.
Well, that is still subjective.
That is so subject. It's a matter of fact, is it not? I mean, there's no subjectivity in the University of Ghana is a premier university.
Strong because on NEC, you see, and that is the problem. You see, on NEC, each campus has four representatives. You see, it is not about being the strongest or about being the other end of it, being the weakest, right? It's our collective effort. It is our collective efforts, and that is what we must protect when we are doing this union business. Well, it is not about the views of one branch or about the views of few individuals. As we have said, I mean, our position has never changed, and it is articulated in there, right? So let's do things, I mean, in a manner that will benefit all of us, rather than seeking to project.
So tell me very briefly, in substance, where is UTAG in fighting for the amendments to some of the clauses that University of Ghana UTAG just raised at the press conference? Where are you with that? Where are you in getting these concerns addressed?
You see, as I said, I am finding it difficult to put out some of the.
I mean, why? This is such a public issue now. I mean, you are fighting a cause.
Because you see, we are still engaging. But as the
okay, where are you with the engagement exactly?
Yes, so we are at a stage where we are consulting key people, which all of us have deemed to be influencers in articulating our views to make sure that Parliament, in looking at this, in looking at our suggested amendments, will consider our views positively, and so that it can influence the outcome, the final product, what comes out. Because that is what we have said, that in the current form of the bill, we are opposed. But if we want to go ahead, if they want to go ahead and pass, then our views, all our views, must be considered.
Dr. It appears that the lack of communication on your part, because it's as if you don't want to come forth with information, and I see that that's what is happening within your membership. That's how come people are breaking ranks and holding press conferences.
Not at all. We have never. The president of UG is on the other side, and I'm sure he will not deny. He knows every process that has taken place. We have never hidden anything from anybody. Not at all.
I mean, Dr. Samuel Campbell, I need to ask you this. Your motive has been questioned. Dr. Bedwedi says attention-seeking is the words he used to describe what you did today. Really? What is really the motive behind this?
Well, I should think it's unfortunate to think that we are seeking attention. We agree commonly that this bill is inimical to the collective interest of not only UTAG members, but of our country and our international reputation as tertiary institutions. And so this is not the first time this has come up. It came in 2019. University of Ghana submitted a report to the National Secretariat indicating that by ABC reasons which we have given, the deal is no good and that it shouldn't see the light of day. This position has not changed, simply because this draft has come and we do not see any variations from the old one. I'll give an example in terms of council composition, where in the previous one, council composition or council membership was supposed to be made of 9 members. This time around, it's supposed to be made of 13 members. When it was 9 members, government had 5 appointees. It's 13, government has 9 appointees. What has changed? And so our position has not changed about the fact that the provisions that there are in this bill are inimical to the collective interest of tertiary education in Ghana, and it has international implication on the reputation of our institutions, and that the bill should be taken back for a second look.
I mean, Dr. Bedwedi, finally, in the statement you issued today, you said if they go ahead, you'll sanction. Will that happen? Will you still sanction?
So, let me quickly address one thing. You see, what my colleague just referred to is a document we have seen, and based on that, we have submitted our inputs to Parliament. You see, that is the difference. Based on that, we have submitted based on what he has just referred to in terms of composition, we have submitted our proposal to Parliament. So you see, now he is speaking to something which already exists, and that is why I say that there is nothing new. You see, sometimes we want to be a bit careful, because if you look at the current composition of do a snapshot of the current composition of university councils, and you get to know the number of external people vis-a-vis the number of internal people. Yeah. We can have a long debate on this.
Yeah, of course, we can. And unfortunately, I don't have time. But however, quick question. Will you or will you not sanction them as you threatened in your statement?
That is a decision the National Executive Committee will have to take.
Okay, Dr. Incumbent, are you ready to accept whatever sanction they hand down?
Well, we certainly expect that we will get formal communication from the National Executive Committee if a decision of that kind is made, and then we would look at it, see the variety of data, and respond to the National Executive Committee. But
will a sanction be appropriate? Knowing what you've done, Dr. Incumbent.
Well, of course, the reality is that the circumstances I do know that would warrant sanctions would be on grounds that we are doing something that is not in the collective interest of UTAG. And I think that to say that we want the public university bill dropped, these are the reasons why we want the bill dropped. And if we presented that at a press conference, I do not see how we have faltered in terms of...
But I mean, you did a similar thing and apologized just a month ago.
And so
you did a similar thing and wrote a formal apology just a month ago. So why repeat the same thing?
Did you do something similar, Dr. Kumban, and apologize?
In June, when the minister appeared on the floor of Parliament and made pronouncements that UTAG, it was as though UTAG was in love with the bill, and the reality is that was not the situation, and that we had made input into the bill to improve it. Our members at the University of Ghana were of the view that was catching up with the public, and the reality is that we proffered reasons why we didn't want the bill and wanted it dropped, and not
are you pleasing the public?
What we did was to come out with a press release indicating that this is the position UTAG holds, and then we do not subscribe to the fact that we accept the bill, except of course, making changes to it. Okay. And that next said we had faltered we could have tabled that for next consideration and possibly next taking it up and of course, for the exigencies of time, we indicated that if we had flouted next directives in doing this, then of course, if we erred, that is fine. Let us proceed in unity.
Well, I'm grateful, sir. Daniel Samuel Kambon is the University of Ghana UTAG president, and you had Dr. Bert Bodikusi, who is the UTAG president for UCC, but speaks for the Youth National. It's part of the executive committee of UTAG. I wonder what you make of this, though.
Well, do send us a message via WhatsApp is 0244340437. We'll read that after business. But before then, your election headquarters presents the Battleground, a show that engages constituents and candidates starting tomorrow. This year's edition starts with a race between Yao Boabien Samoa and Mohammed Ramadan. We are focusing on the Adentan seat. After business with George Riafe.
Hi, Emefa. Well, coming up in business, significant decline in hotel and restaurant contribution, as well as manufacturing, forces economy to contract first such in 37 years. We hear from government statistician and some depositors of the defunct savings and loans companies and microfinance firms have started drawing down their funds following the release of over 3 billion Ghana cedis by government. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kindle Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essential. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
55, 68, 58, 70. Hey, Charlie, my network is really killing me. I have to pay my uncle's workers via mobile money, but the charges alone, it's about 380 cedis. Charges alone just to send money? That's $10 of cement already, my guy. Listen, bro, you can save money on charges if you move to Vodafone Cash now. Vodafone Cash? But my network is... Hey, sending money on that your network, you pay. Sending money on your network to other networks, you pay. But guess what? Sending money on Vodafone Cash is free. Sending money on Vodafone Cash to all other networks is also absolutely free. No charges at all on Vodafone Cash. So tell me, what are you still doing on that your network? Massa, look sharp, then move to Vodafone Cash. Hey, make a change the SIM right now. Yes, sending money on Vodafone Cash to all other networks is now absolutely free. Send unlimited amounts of money as many times as you like for free. Just dial *110# now to send money.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Hey, I say, mix the cement in correct proportional.
Hey, contractor.
Hey, what's your soul?
Yeah, Malande. Sorry, I say. When you attend the year of return, Ankasa. Hey, contractor. A danya wasting ye. Hey, what bush mama me feeling too much?
Who project here? Me friend a gas them from top to down. If you are a gas them.
Hey, yes, solid pa.
Hey, you see gas them, man. If for soup, you know what do? On your quality, no question. Extra gas them.
Addressing at that particular time, so I needed private to make calls and to receive calls, whilst my colleague did my transactions for me.
So have you been able to have access to your funds?
Yes.
All of your funds?
All of my funds.
So what was the process like? Take us through the process.
Okay, what I did was to close the account and take everything in it, because the account was opened for this account balance to be transferred into. So I just closed the account and took all the money.
Great. Was it seamless? Was it hectic?
No, it wasn't. Very seamless. I was very relaxed.
And you heard Nicholas Brown engaging one customer of CBG who actually had the opportunity to draw down her account actually following the decision by government to release some 3.56 billion Ghana cedis for those who are holding bonds that want to go in for their cash. The Ghana Hotel Association says that none of its members that applied for the stimulus package being administered by the National Board for Small-Scale Industry has so far been able to receive any support. Hotels have been one of the sectors that have been impacted badly by the effects of COVID-19. President of the Hotel Association, Dr. Edward Akenyamika, tells Joy Business their industry has been suffering greatly.
What we observed was that with some of the support we have not been able to.
The EC has introduced a mobile telephony tracking SMS platform to enable registered voters access their registration details using their mobile phones. Very simple. Text your voter ID to 1422 on all networks to verify your details on the voters register. To ensure a safe and secure exhibition of voters register exercise, the Electoral Commission will direct all registrants to observe compulsory protection protocols like wearing of face masks, temperature checks, social distancing and hand sanitizing instituted by government as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic at all exhibition centers. Exhibition of the Provisional Voters Register is from 18th to 25th September 2020. 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day, including Saturday and Sunday. Remember, the only way to guarantee that your name is in the voters register is to take part in the exhibition exercise. 2020 exhibition of the voters register exercise. Your safety, our concern.
Thanks for staying with us here on Newsnight. We'll go for sports shortly with Baba Tando, but lots and lots of your messages. And this is your election headquarters. In every election, there are battles for the voter stump. This year, your election headquarters is redeploying boots on the ground on the new show, Battleground.
Well, the show brings the microphone to you, the listeners of voters, in this year's elections. Of course, those who listen to Joy 99.7 FM in our carefully selected constituencies every Thursday at 8 p.m. beginning tomorrow. Now, here is something to tease you ahead of the maiden edition tomorrow.
The Adentan constituency will on December 7 see a keenly contested race. The MPP's Yaboabian Samoa will be seeking to make history as the only MP to be retained.
A bigger gap. In 2016, I had nothing to show. Now, we have lots to show.
The NDC's Mohammed Ramadan will want history to remain unchanged as he maintains Yao Boabin Asamoah does not deserve a second term.
It's time for all of us to come together and wrestle the seat from the MPP.
The constituents who are politically conscious simply cannot wait.
It is not going well at all, because at the time the NPP was taking over government, we thought they would do things different.
Big Joe's friend, you see, has a contrary opinion. He insists Yao Boabin Asamoah deserves a second term.
They are telling lies. We are not losing. Things are cool here.
So the battleground is tomorrow from 8 p.m. here live only on Joy 99.7 FM. Do not miss it for anything. It's going to be lit.
And also on all our social media platforms, you can catch it live as well. And from 2007, Araba Kumsin has risen through the ranks in a highly challenging newsroom environment to become editor. But her journey hasn't been a jolly ride, breaking many stereotypes about women in journalism. Yes, we all know that. In a series of stories looking at Joy News' longest-serving journalist as part of our 25th anniversary, my colleague Justice Bedu tells the Araba Kumsin story. Listen.
Araba Kumsin, 14 years, anchoring, reporting from Parliament and on the ground for Joy News.
How the reception area has changed. 14 years, wow, what a transformation. I walked in with trepidation because I didn't know what to expect. This was Joy FM. I was scared. Because I was coming to face what I'd call giants.
In a country where few women make it in this job, hers has been a fascinating story of dreams. So what has changed about the Joy News journalism over the years that she has been here?
We hadn't had technology developed at the point that we have right now. So we were using, tape recorders at the time. We're using a tiny record. They weren't this tiny. I'm sure I think they were this big. It was bulky sometimes. It was even a challenge sometimes because sometimes you'd want to interview somebody, but because of the bulkiness of the recorder, it puts people off and they wouldn't want to record. So at the time, we're using recorders like that.
Araba wants many other young women to come after her, walking in the footprints that she hopes to leave behind someday.
My position is that you shouldn't always look back. You should always, face forward because, there are new opportunities that come every day. I don't think a lot of organizations can boast of being around for 25 years and thriving. The personnel here can compete with anyone across the world, globally, and so I can only say the future is bright for multimedia heading into the next 25 years.
But until that moment comes, it is going to be her silky voice and firm journalism broadcasting on radio, online, and on TV from Fanofa Street here in Accra.
Such an inspiring story from Araba Kumsin, and it's time for NSMQ. And tomorrow we are heading to the Volta OT zone. And guess what? Ola Girls Senior High
Banana.
We are contesting with KJB, Asato SHS, and OT SHS. Wow, Sha. Who is winning?
Oh,
OT SHS.
Anybody else other than Ola?
It's a lie. And then we also have Maoli Senior High School and Chito Senior High School and Georgia Penny Senior High School, and then Sunrise SHS, Vakbo Senior High School, and Adidome SHS. And of course, that contest between Ola Girls, KJB, and OT is a contest to look out for.
And it's all going to be here because you want to stay tuned for the updates, and it's brought to you by Bright SHS in Kukrintimi, building dreams and shaping the future. DBS, Colorlink Plus roofing sheet, roofing Papa Fie, Adonko hand sanitizer, Korompo Stro, and Adonko Next Level energy drink, the premium energy drink.